They planned a life together, but ended up on opposite sides of the world, trapped by borders, papers, and silence. This is the story of Emma and Daniel. Emma, from Sydney, Australia. Daniel, from Portland, Oregon. Two people who found each other at the perfect time and lost each other at the worst time. It isn't a love story filled with fairy tale endings. It's about real people whose biggest obstacle wasn't distance, but rules, restrictions, and a world that shut its doors without warning. They met in late 2019. Both were traveling. Both were curious. Both carried that spark of adventure. Emma was visiting the United States for a short holiday, and Daniel happened to be at the same bookstore cafe in downtown Portland. It started with small talk over coffee, then long walks by the river, then weeks of late-night conversations, sharing dreams and fears. They were two people from two different continents, but somehow it felt like home when they were together. By early 2020, Daniel had made plans to visit Sydney. He wanted to meet Emma's family, see the beaches she spoke so fondly of, and maybe even start building something bigger with her. They both knew visas weren't always easy, but they believed paperwork was just paperwork. Love would find its way. Then came the news. A virus spreading across the world. Flights canceled. Borders sealed. Australia announced some of the strictest closures in history. In a matter of days, every plan they had disappeared. No flights, no visas, no timeline, and worst of all, no answers. At first, they stayed strong. Video calls every morning, letters in the mail, playlists they made for each other to fall asleep to. But as months turned into years, something changed. The weight of uncertainty grew heavier. Each government update felt like a coin toss. Maybe this month, maybe not. Daniel applied for an exemption visa 3 times. Denied. Emma tried to visit the US. Rejected at the border with nothing but a stamp in her passport. It wasn't just about love anymore. It was about fighting a system that didn't see them as people, only as case numbers. Birthdays passed. Anniversaries passed. And on one of those anniversaries, Daniel sat alone in his apartment, staring at the photos of them together. He whispered, "I don't know how much longer I can do this." On the other side of the world, Emma was lying awake in her bed, thinking the exact same thing. They didn't stop loving each other, but they started living separate lives, because the waiting never ended. By the time borders began to reopen, the damage was already done. They had missed 2 years of being in each other's worlds. Friends moved on, careers changed, and the rhythm of their lives no longer matched. They tried one last time, a reunion in Hawaii, halfway between their two countries. They held each other again, after more than 700 days apart. And in that embrace, they both knew the truth. They weren't the same people anymore. Emma and Daniel never hated each other. They never stopped caring. But sometimes, love isn't enough when the world places walls between you. Their story is one of thousands. Couples torn apart not by choice, but by rules, by closures, and by a moment in history no one could control. So if you've ever missed someone, if you've ever felt powerless against time and distance, you know a little bit of what Emma and Daniel lived through. Some stories don't end with happily ever after. Some just end with two people who once meant everything, learning how to live apart.